It's Friday, the 6th of October. It is 4:03 right now. I've got a load of lumber. I'm in Madison, Illinois. If you like these videos, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, just hit the subscribe button. If you really want to make me happy, if my videos helped you to decide to go with Maverick Transportation, please give my name as a referral when you apply or before you show up. You just give them a call. I picked up this load of lumber approximately 7 hours ago in where was I? I was in Georgia. No, Mississippi. And it was originally scheduled to deliver today in Indiana at 5 o'clock, but it had a pickup time yesterday of 6 o'clock, and I wasn't going to make that based on my previous delivery of steel, based on how long they were taking to unload. So they ended up moving this appointment, same appointment and everything, to be picked up in the morning, Friday morning, and they just said go ahead and take it home and then I'll deliver it on Monday. So it's actually 11 stacks of lumber. You can see the big divot they put in the middle, which I don't mind. I prefer it there, I guess. But it makes luckily the middle section is long enough to where there is not. Sorry, I got something in my eye, and I should have cleared it out before I started this video. But hey, it just makes it. Luckily, the way it is shaped, it allows me to make somewhat of a decent overlap of the two lumber tarps, because there are some loads that you get that you end up with areas like this where you're trying to, let's say this was the middle stack, trying to line up your tarps in a way that allows it to be covered and yet allows you to tighten it in a way that will keep it somewhat protected. And anyway, alright, just checking the back to make sure it's still all together. This load is slightly longer than the trailer, which is fine. As you could also see, it's kind of at an angle. That's the way they loaded it. It's not because of some kind of load shift type thing. That's just the way the stacks are when they put it on. And in order to, for me anyway, I have to make sure I get a longer flap underneath the lumber that I'm attaching to the side with bungees, pulled tight on each side to help stabilize this flap that goes down, to keep it underneath. Otherwise, if I didn't put bungees on both sides of the flap area underneath here, that might actually work itself out, come loose, and actually cover up some of my lights, and I don't like that. So overall, it was a real easy trip from Mississippi, and glad to be home. Oh, yeah, no, I'm rubbing my eye again. I shouldn't rub my eye, but this is one of the few times I do when it feels like there's something in there. Now I'm not going to rub it anymore because I know whatever's in there is gone. This, I don't know if you're able to tell, but the other lumber tarp goes to about here. So there's only a, slightly over 2 foot overlap of this particular tarp. Luckily for me, it all seemed to fit just perfectly. In fact, while I was getting loaded this morning at 7 a.m., there was somebody from another company. They were having trouble with their tarp. So as I was getting my material out of my tarp box, all I hear is this voice from behind me, "Hey, come here, help me out." And it was, I thought it was funny. It wasn't a, "Hey, do you have a moment? Can you help me with something?" No, it was more like he was directing me to come help him. I just thought it was funny. I still helped him, and he was having trouble with his tarps on top of his lumber. I'm not sure. He was in such a hurry that he was doing it wrong. I mean, obviously he was flying through his different methods of securement and putting his tarps on, but he was doing it, in my opinion only, He was doing it so quickly that he was working against himself. And I feel I'm very fast and efficient when it comes to tarping. And and I only point this out because sometimes you just have to take a second and think about it, and then perform the function you're trying to perform in a smooth manner. If you're, you know, yeah, that's the only way I can best describe it. Because he had his back, same tarps. He had 2 lumber tarps. His load was not even as long as mine. It went to in between the spread axles and about the same distance out the front. So he had space on his deck he could get up on and grab and straighten out his tarp, but he, I guess, chose not to. He felt that he couldn't get up there, but there was a sign that says, "Don't get on top of load." That is the top of the load. Being on top of your trailer does not mean you're on top of your load. Now, there are areas that say you can't get on your trailer too, but they'll tell you that. This place just didn't want you on top of the load. And they had ladders and stuff available, but I tried to help him, but it was so hung up on there. I don't know what he basically had to re-hook it up to the tarp machine and straighten it out. And he seemed to have the same issue with the front. And I guess what it all comes down to is I was done. He started before me and I was done before him. And not that I'm that efficient, but what is the saying? Slow is smooth. I don't know. It just seems like he was working against himself, and sometimes you just gotta sit. Because I wasn't really going terribly fast, because I was thinking to myself, okay, am I because of how I caught up to where he was at, and I was like, am I going really fast, or am I walking at I was walking at what I considered a normal pace. I was like, okay, don't look like I'm in a hurry. I don't want this guy to feel like I'm trying to race him, because sometimes that actually affects other drivers. They feel like they're in a competition, or they're like, oh man, I'm not doing it good enough because this guy, he's coming in after me and he's almost done. I got to work even faster. And some people get that mindset. So I try not to affect other people's mindsets, because I try to maintain the safe spaces at the tarping machine. I try to list, any warnings. I'll post a big sign on the side of my load, trigger warnings. I may be faster than you. Things like that, just to make sure nobody has a hard time. Here's one of our, as you can see, a temperature control truck, nice and clean. It's the same style of truck. It's just got a fairing on top, different side fairings for that as well, in order to provide better aerodynamics over the square box. But also, his is a 2017, mine is a 2017. Here, I'll take a look at the way this lines up here. Fairing, step, tires, see the thing in the center? Discs, covers. Now, you can already see the difference between mine, because I have a silver aluminum corrugated step all the way across the bottom, where that one doesn't. It's just at the door. And so you can see there's a slight difference between some of the trucks, but as can be the case, you can end up with a truck with this exact style, but with just the temperature control version top is what I would call it. I mean, the trucks are virtually identical in the interior. So if you have any questions about it, basically all I know is there's a temperature control unit on the front that controls the temperature within the truck itself, and they have doors on the back that they open and close every once in a while they're driving. Probably not while they're driving, probably while they're stopped to either pick up or unload their product. So, but they do look nice. It's always easy to spot a Maverick truck when this goes by. Sometimes I see Freightliners drive by and I'm like, hey, that's not a Maverick truck, it's just a Freightliner. So if you have any questions, put it in the comments below, and we'll see you next week.